Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Swiss Army Dan coming at you with another Swiss Army knife video. Today, I just wanted to discuss the difference between the two different types of Swiss Army knives that we all know, Victorinox knives versus Wenger. And I've got a few out here, and it's by no means comprehensive, and there's so many different variations of each of these knives that it's just ridiculous to comprehend, and I don't know if anybody has them all. I don't know even know if Victorinox has them all. So anyway, we're just looking at some very simple kind of minimal knives today, and I'll maybe discuss some of the other ones as we go here. So let's just get right into it. These are all Victorinox knives. These here are all Wenger knives. They both are from Switzerland. Victorinox is from a town called Ibach. Wengers are from a town called Delemont, and that's the French-speaking part of Switzerland, while Ibach is in the German speaking part of Switzerland. Wenger went out of business. I think they were going out of business around 2009, and eventually got absorbed into the Victorinox name. So I'm not real sure on exactly when that happened, but I know that by 2014 for sure they were all Victorinox. And I've been kind of looking through these. I'm sorry, that date's out there, but I just don't have it. But anyway, Victorinox started in 1891, and as far as I know, Wenger started also in the 1890s, but 2 years later in 1893. They were both commissioned very early on to provide the soldier knives for the Swiss military. Now, I should tell you, all these are officers' knives. These two are soldier knives, and they're the 1961 model that came later. There was an earlier soldier model that didn't look like this, but it had basically the same tool set, just different shaped tools, and not the same as this. So yeah, these are officers' knives, and I think Carl Elsner, it was his idea to have what they say. Let me put some more light on these here. Maybe that helps. Let there be light. Even another one. There we go. A more elegant officer's knife, and I think that's when these kind of came into play. The Celador came later on, but these are all models from probably like the 80s and on, that are probably more readily available on eBay and Amazon and whatever. People have a lot of these. You can get used, or you can, of course, buy the new ones. You can't buy new Wengers anymore, but you can get the Wenger style knives through Victorinox, which include a lot of the Wenger designs and shape, as far as the Evo grip scales and the different shaped openers, and that kind of thing. I'm not real sure about the scissors. You might still be able to still get the old Wenger scissors. I've never bought a new Wenger, or Wenger style Victorinox, so I'm just not sure. I think most of mine kind of fall, at least 10 years ago and before, with the knives that I collect. So anyway, let's just look at a couple of these. We haven't even opened. You've seen other videos where I compare these two guys, and they're basically the same. There's some different shapes and some of and the awl, and then a little bit at the bottom of the tang here. I won't go into that today. And this one has the bail, but basically they're the same knife. And one thing I have noticed over the years, that the Victorinoxes usually weigh a little bit more, even though that this has the bail on it. They weigh a little bit more. And anyway, the bail is probably a civilian feature too. I think the ones that they issued to the soldiers either had a hollow rivet or a solid rivet and no bail. Here's the Spartan, and it's a classic Swiss Army knife. You can see that this is a newer Spartan. See if hopefully you can see that. Maybe this will work. Having some trouble today with the focus. Maybe we can move this light a little bit closer. Anyway, I won't get hung up on stamps. I just wanted to show you the Victorinox, and then here's the Wenger. And now this Wenger is the Commander. You can see the Wenger logo there. That comes pretty standard on Wengers from this era. The big difference between these two, off the bat, this is 85 millimeter, the Wenger. They don't have 84 and 91 millimeter, or they didn't have those variations. They only had the 85 millimeter as far as, you know, these medium-sized knives. Compare it to the 91 millimeter Spartan. And then here's a waiter. But it's 84 millimeter, and you can see there's just about a millimeter difference there, if that even, you know, between the 84 and 85 millimeter, 84 millimeter Vic and 85 millimeter Wenger. So as far as length, a very small difference. You get a little bit more blade with the Vic, I think. One thing I should note about these blades, and other people pointed this out, the Wenger has more of a belly on it than the Victorinox. You can see the difference in the blades there. Some people prefer that belly, some people don't. Some people sharpen them both down to sheep's foot blades, which I don't prefer myself, but whatever works for you, right? So there's the Commander versus the Spartan. And as far as I know, Wengers don't have plus scales, and I just wanted to kind of note Vics do have these plus scales available, which I think kind of increases the coolness of the knife and, you know, utility and features of the knife. Next is, this is like the Wenger Waiter, and I believe it's called the Gourmet, and it's 85 millimeter. And this is kind of cool. This is their version of that combo tool. I'll show you the Vicks right here. This is a waiter. But you know, I've done all the tasks that this does. I think it holds up pretty good. I mean, as far as I know. You know, I've opened bottles with it. I've opened cans with it, and you know, screwed in screws. It does all the jobs. And it's even got the wire stripper there. So pretty much, you know, maybe it's just a style thing which you prefer on these two, but I think they both operate pretty well. If you have more experience with them and prefer one over the other, let me know. And here's just the 84 millimeter blade versus that 85 millimeter blade. And you know, the Wenger looks a lot bigger, you know, definitely from this angle. Here's this angle here. But you know, it's kind of up to you on which of those blades that you prefer. One other difference on Wengers is the scale tools are on the inside, so you don't really see them too much from the outside, like on the Victorinox. So there's the top view there. And you know, both of these companies come with variations with and without the scale tools in there. And here's like, this is called a Viking, and it's a lot like this, except it has a little clip point blade there instead of that combo tool. I thought I'd show you that too. It seems like Wenger preferred that kind of stamp over inlay. This seems like a little bit better stamp, or kind of an inlay, aluminum inlay on this one, but it still seems like less durable maybe than this one. And these, you know, wear off eventually for sure if you carry them. Same thing with Vic. Vic has those stamps like that on there too, where it's just kind of screen printed on there. Last is the Tinkers. So it's called a Highlander. I've got two kind of brand new Highlanders here that I figure if I'm gonna carry a Wenger, it's probably this one, and I'll tell you why. You lose this. There's a big change here between Wengers and Vicks with this can opener, and you see this is kind of like this sharp, hooky kind of shape on here versus the Vic, you don't get any screw driving utility from this can opener, while with the Vic you get flathead screwdrivers, 3 millimeters, and it works for most, at least most that you run into, Phillips screws. So I feel like with the Vic you don't need another Phillips, but with the Wenger, I feel like I can't do Phillips at all. So why not carry that Highlander? As long as I'm not planning on drinking any wine that day. But then I'd have to carry something else if I was, right? And here's the awl. It's not a sharpened edge. I'll compare it to the Vic here. There's no sharpened edge on this awl with the Wenger awl. You don't get the sewing eye either. And I've never tried to drill holes in wood or leather with that Wenger. I have a lot with the Vic actually, and put holes in all kinds of things with that Vic, and it works really well. The awl on here works even better. I think most people will agree on that. So, there's a difference too, and I think that's another kind of reason why it seems like most people prefer Victorinox, but I don't want to make this a Wenger bash session because they make totally awesome products. And another cool thing about Wenger is that they've been really innovative over the years, and they've had knives with antennas in them, and I think there's probably a Vic cigar cutter too, but like a cigar cutter and all kinds of really cool, weird combinations of tools. Wenger really went out there and was like, you can look it up if you're more interested in it, but they try to specialize in all kinds of cool stuff, which I think is cool, and, I just kind of imagine, the two companies trying to compete with each other, and it seems like Wenger was maybe on the coattails of Vic sometimes, like they'd come out with a similar model after Vic had the model, and maybe, I don't know, I feel bad for Wenger sometimes. They had to use Vic's tools, but you know what? They're a great company, and now they're pretty much absorbed into Victorinox. So I'm not saying one is better or the other. I do prefer the Victorinox. I think you probably already know that. But what do you do? I mean, I'd like to hear from the Wenger fans out there. Some more reasons why they prefer Wenger. I think they're totally cool. They're all great, high quality Swiss-made knives, and they all have that lifetime warranty, which is awesome. And Vic still honors the old Wenger warranties, which I think is really solid of them. So anyway, I think this is a pretty long video already, and I think I've kind of talked about what I want to. I know I didn't cover all the differences here, and there's still more to talk about. But that's my Vic versus Wenger video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember to be kind to each other. Swiss Army Dan is out.